What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 108 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Friday, September 12th, 2025. I'm your host, Zach Malum. But before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of football as both New York teams are in action this weekend. And we'll start things with the New York Jets as they host the Buffalo Bills in an AFC East showdown Sunday at 1 o'clock down at MetLife Stadium. And the Bills come into this game as 6.5-point favorites, total sitting at 47.5. Looks on paper like a game that the Bills should dominate from start to finish, especially with their recent success against the New York Jets. However, if you watch the Jets in week one, this offense looked completely different. They were tremendous, especially Justin Fields, who was really at the center of everything for this Jets offense. And then you look at Tanner Engstrand, the new OC, really got Justin Fields into some good areas and great play calling from him. But the big storyline in week one for me was how well the offensive line played. In the absence of Elijah Vera Tucker, who's out for the season with a torn triceps, the Jets looked like they were missing nobody in week one. They had some really young pieces in Olu Fashanu at left tackle. You had Armand Membu at right tackle, the Jets' most recent draft pick. And you even had Joe Tippmann, a more experienced player, but playing kind of out of position at guard with Josh Myers in there at center. The Jets' offensive line looked pretty much brand new, and they looked really, really good against one of the toughest defensive lines in all of football, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jets on the ground ran for 182 total yards. That's a real positive sign, especially heading into week two now. They're taking on a Bills defense that's going to be without one of their best players, arguably their best player, their nose tackle, Ed Oliver, going to be out for this one with an ankle issue. And the Jets, especially now without Ed Oliver in the lineup for Buffalo, they have to really punch the ball on the ground and jam it down the Bills' throats, especially with what you saw a week ago, the Baltimore Ravens with the dual threat quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, paired up with Derrick Henry. They went to town on this Buffalo defense. And really, when you're looking at that, if you're Breece Hall, you're even Braylon Allen, and as well Justin Fields, you're licking your lips at that kind of matchup with Oliver not causing havoc in the center of that defense. So that's a real positive sign for the Jets. However, I think the other thing that this game's going to come down to is how well the Jets can play on defense. They're going up against one of the best quarterbacks in all of football in Josh Allen. And even when a game was down and out, it looked like Buffalo was just going to go down peacefully against the Baltimore Ravens. They come back behind their quarterback, Josh Allen, who played tremendous football in the second half. Jets really have to keep him in the pocket. I think that's the big thing. Allow your defensive line to go to work, and they have some real demons up there on that defensive front, the Jets do. Quinnen Williams, of course, in the center of it, but you have Will McDonald on one side, Jermaine Johnson, who came back from a torn Achilles in his first game a week ago. He's back and really trying to cause some havoc on that defensive side, and that's really what it comes down to. If you keep Josh Allen in the pocket, force him to beat you with his arm, yes, he probably can do so in all types of games. However, you're really relying on this secondary that got blown up in week one. They just have to really stay contained and really have to lock down these Buffalo receivers. If they can do that and keep Allen in the pocket, I think it could lead to some success for this Jets team. So we'll see what happens. It's week two now for this Jets team. 0-1 on the year. Buffalo's 1-0. Should be a great matchup in the AFC East. It's Sunday at 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. Shifting things to the other side of New York as the New York Giants are down in Jerry's World taking on the Dallas Cowboys Sunday at 1 o'clock. And the Cowboys come into this game as 5.5-point favorites, total sitting at 44.5. The biggest question coming into this one, can the Giants offense actually do something? Because week after week a season ago, even into week one this season, Russell Wilson had the ball in his hands and the Giants did next to nothing on offense and only put up 6 points against a really mediocre Commanders defense in week one. That's really a bad sign heading into week two. The Cowboys defense on the other side looked pretty good against the Philadelphia Eagles on opening night. They held them to just 24 points, and a powerful offense like that, they really figured out a way to lock things down. They got rid of Micah Parsons. They bring in Kenny Clark, and Kenny Clark actually looked pretty good in the middle of that Cowboys defensive line. But the real question is, Can the Giants offense really break out in this game? I don't know if I can completely see that coming. Positive sign for the Giants is that the Cowboys are going to be without one of their star corners in Deron Bland. He is out for this game, and that's a real sticking point for the Giants as they have to bounce back after a tough loss a week ago. Can they do so? I'm not sure. I think the Cowboys end up winning this game still because they are in Jerry's World. They're on their home field, and they got the home crowd behind them. But really on the Giants side, anything needs to go in this one, and they have to really rely on Russell Wilson to get the job done, or else it could be Jackson Dart time pretty soon up at MetLife Stadium. So we'll see what happens, but the Giants take on the Cowboys Sunday at 1 o'clock. Let's shift things to baseball as both New York teams were in action this week, and we'll start things with the New York Mets as they went down to Philadelphia for a 4-game set against the Phillies at the bank, and this one was a series to forget. It's been pretty dark times recently for this Mets team, and it just continues to get worse. They get swept 4-0 to Philadelphia. 1-0. They lost on Monday with Nolan McLean on the mound. Just could not get any run support for him. Then on Tuesday, complete domination by Rangers Suarez and crew. They really dominated from start to finish in that game. Sean Manaea did not look good as well. Then you go to Wednesday's game. Need a bounce back. Christopher Sanchez on the mound, and he completely dominates this Mets team. And Clay Holmes ends up getting the loss. He falls to 11-8 on the year. Then you go into Thursday's game, need a little bit of fight, just get a win. And the Mets actually did so. They went up 4-0 in the first inning, but then they found a way to blow it, and they lose again 6-4 this time on Thursday, a 4-0 sweep against Philadelphia. The division race is over. It is real tight right now in the wild card with a couple of teams real close behind them. It's the San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds, both a game and a half behind New York, and they have to figure out a way to change things right now because it's been completely different from the month of August that the Mets had 6.32 runs per game, 4.97 team ERA in August. It's the complete opposite right now. 4.40 runs per game with 6.29 being the team ERA. That's just not good enough. One day it being the lineup, one day it being the starting pitching, one day it being the bullpen. That's not good enough for a playoff team. They are somehow still in the playoff race with how bad they've been playing recently. The losing streak is now up to 6, and they have to figure out a way to get past this because it's down to crunch time right now. They got some tough opponents and some tough series coming up. They have a tough one in this next one against Texas, and we'll get to that in just a second. But then you have San Diego as well, who you're fighting with in the wild card picture. You also have some tough NL East opponents that you have to go up against. Miami in the last series, of the year. You got to figure out how to win that series. You also have Washington, who you should easily beat, but you lost the series to them about a month ago down in D.C. Then you have the Cubs as well at Wrigley, another team that's in the wild card race. So they need to figure things out very quickly, or else this season could be over really soon for this Mets team. So they need to figure things out quickly. And it's not great that they have to see an old friend on the mound on Friday night. It's a 7-10 start tonight with Jacob deGrom back at Citi Field. He's 11-7 on the year with a 2.78 ERA, and he's going up against the young stud that is Jonah Tong. He's 1-1 on the year, 4.09 ERA. Did not have a great outing in his last game against the Cincinnati Reds. Still figured out his strikeout stuff, but allowed a lot of fly balls in that game, including a home run to Sal Stewart in that one, a game that the Mets ended up losing. So they really need to figure things out right now, and not a great time to go up against a tough pitcher in Jacob deGrom, but you really have to figure things out if you're the Mets, and they need to figure things out quickly, especially in this series against Texas back at Citi Field. We'll see what happens. Make sure you tune in all series long. It's the Rangers and the Mets, and we'll talk about it on Monday's episode. But let's shift things to the other side of New York, where the New York Yankees were also in action this week, and it really wasn't much better for the Yankees side of things. They end up getting a win to close out the series against Detroit, and of course, during this stretch, you got Houston, Toronto, Detroit, Boston, you're not going to win every series. That's not how it works. And with how the Yankees have played against these teams this year, wouldn't have been a surprise if they lost all 4 series, but they got 2 series wins to start this stretch against Houston and Toronto. So the positives heading into a series against Detroit, of course, they ended up losing this series in complete domination in the first 2 games of this one, Tuesday and Wednesday. A 12-2 Tigers win with Fernando Cruz getting blown up late in this one. And then you had Carlos Rodon charged with the loss, an 11-1 Detroit Tigers victory on Wednesday. It really wasn't Rodon's fault for a lot of it. The bullpen just completely blew up once again, and they lose 11-1. So back-to-back games with just complete domination from the opponent. So they need to bounce back in the final game on 9/11. The president is in attendance at Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees looked really good right behind their captain, Aaron Judge. He hits 2 home runs in this game and ends up tying Joe DiMaggio for 4th all-time on the Yankees home run list. So that's a massive achievement for Judge and a great win by this Yankees team. They get the job done, and all the runs came early in this one. All of a sudden, it's the 4th inning, and it's 9-1 Yankees, and they just did not look back from there. They end up winning it 9-3. Great job by Cam Schlittler in this game, who was rock solid after a couple of shaky starts. 6 innings in this one, 5 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run with 2 walks and 7 Ks. And that's real positive to see for this Yankees rotation, a guy that they can maybe want to rely on as they get later down the road and into the postseason. So we'll see what happens with that. But the Yankees, a little bit of cushion right now. They got a big-time win against this Detroit Tigers team, and now they sit 2.5 games up in that wild card spot, the top spot in the wild card they are, and they are kind of sneaking up on the Toronto Blue Jays. They need the Blue Jays to lose some games to do so, and they're looking like they're turning things around. The Blue Jays are after the previous series, but the Yankees 3 games back and looking like they're just trying to catch up to Toronto. Can they do so after this weekend? That's the question right now. They have a tough series going on the road to Boston, and they're shipping up to Boston. A 7-10 start tonight at Fenway Park. It's the Yankees and the Red Sox. Luis Gil taking the ball for Aaron Boone's side, and he comes into this game as at 3-1 with a 3.31 ERA. Lucas Giolito on the other side, 10-3 this year, 3.38 ERA. A great pitching matchup. And it should come down to the offenses, whether one team or the other can come out on top and hit a couple of long balls and get the offense rolling, because they got 2 tough pitchers on the mound, and it should be like that all series long. This is a must-win series for the New York Yankees. They have to really stave off Boston and have to keep Toronto pretty close to them. If they take 2 out of 3, you're very happy. If they get swept, you're really not happy. They need to figure out ways to win games against the Red Sox, who they've struggled to do so against this year. So we'll see what happens. The biggest series of the year, though, it looks like, as the Yankees take on the Red Sox. 7-10 start tonight at Fenway Park. Make sure you tune in all series long, as the biggest rivalry in all of baseball takes place this weekend. But that will do it for episode 108 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malama. Thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Monday.